We've got tips and recipes for healthy living. So for fun and inspiration, come and join us in the raw food world.
Welcome, everybody. It's that time again.
Bienvenidos a Vilcabamba. Some people were asking where we live from the last video. They don't know where we live. And they were also asking whether the view from my desk over there is actually a view or if it's a picture. That's really what it looks like outside. It's very pretty here.
This is Matt Monarch with the Raw Food World TV show. Coming at you in the house at, I think, Vilcabamba with picture windows.
Picturesque window scenery?
Yes.
Ooh.
Gila is in the house. Okay, everybody, so yesterday, was it yesterday when you asked me all the questions?
I think that was a couple of days ago.
Yeah, a couple of days ago she asked me all these questions and I answered. Now,
Ding, ding, ding.
the beautiful, iridescent goddess princess is up to bat.
Bava.
You ready?
What is your favorite color? Green.
How many siblings do you have?
One sister. She's 2 days younger than you.
2 days, exactly. Did she used to beat you up?
No.
Did she used to tickle you?
Yes, with her feet. She called it gripper toes and it was really horrible.
Gripper toes. Can I tell them about? Okay, so whenever anybody gets near my armpits, because my brother used to just like, it would hurt. So, like, my toes can't go near Angela or she freaks out. Every time we go to bed, she like kicks my legs like the other direction and it's crazy.
Baba.
But that's the only thing, right? Okay, so I was thinking maybe we can tell everybody about your newfound gift. Well, your old gift that's been newfound.
What is it?
The people tell you things.
Yeah.
Well, everybody knows that people tell you things all the time. Like, we make life decisions on what the people tell you, but maybe you could tell them what they're assisting you with now.
Baba.
No? Should I tell them about it?
Okay.
When Angela was a child, she used to have songs come in her head. Remember I told you guys a long time ago that Angela lives in a musical? There's always music playing, whether it's in the morning, in the evening, and even while she's sleeping, there's music playing all the time. But what we didn't realize was these people playing the music in her head at night were actually downloading songs to her, and she's blocked them out for years on end. But now, she's back.
To let you know, I can really shake him down.
Maybe she just wrote 4 songs in like 2 days. It's like creativity madness just all of a sudden exploding out of her brain.
It's fun, isn't it, Bubble?
Yeah. I was telling her not to be sad that all these years it hasn't come, you haven't been expressing this because she wouldn't be where she's at today. And now she's in a kind and loving space to where all this thing, she has the ability to do something like this.
I'm really enjoying it. It's like my whole being is so into the process. I find myself like skipping on the way to go and download the next song. It's like there's so much joy in it. So at some point, we'll probably be sharing all of that with you guys.
Woo! What if you have 100 songs, Paul? You have a YouTube channel? Okay. So if you could choose one word to describe yourself, what would that be?
Chameleon.
Chameleon. Why?
Hello.
You know what someone said in the YouTube comments and why I don't read them? Someone told me.
What?
When you ask me one word to describe myself, Someone said hairy.
Oh no. It's not that, is it, Bubba?
Is it because I got hair on my chest? Is it because I got hair like crazy there? Or is it just everywhere?
Maybe it's because he's got pretty eyelashes.
Ooh. All right. The next question. At what age did you start gaining weight?
11.
11. So from 11 to 25,
21.
21, you were overweight
Well, I gained weight non-stop
for 10 years.
from the age of 21 to, from 11 to 21.
Wow. And then what happened at 22?
Well, at 21, I had a diabetes scare, and that was the point at which I realized that I needed to do something different. If you keep doing the same things, you keep getting the same results in it. So I had to do something different. So I started to not eat quite as much, be a bit more active, that kind of stuff. And I started to lose weight, but I only lost, I don't know, like 20 pounds or something from doing those kind of things. And when you're like 300 pounds and you lose 20 pounds, it doesn't really make that much difference. So it wasn't until I was 23 when I found out about raw food that everything really changed.
So if you didn't have that diabetes scare, from 11 to 21, what would have happened to like 21 to 31?
I probably wouldn't have made it to 31, I wouldn't think, the way that I was living. It was like I was just eating myself into the grave, you know? I was just a food maniac.
Crazy. So maybe we can dig a little deeper here.
Ooh.
Why is it? I know you were saying it was an underactive thyroid and stuff like that, but obviously people have their crutches, you know. I would just go get my butt kicked out of to get through mine, but you, on the other hand, you would eat food. Maybe you can go a little deeper into like what you were running from or what was going on there.
Well, yeah, food definitely felt like my crutch in life. It felt like my strongest relationship in life. I didn't like humans. I especially didn't like children, human children, because they were like dangerous to me because they would say things to me. Like there was this incident with this little girl who said, she was like 4 or 5 years old or something. She was like, "Why is your belly so big?" And yeah, I just freaked out. Didn't know what to say.
So kids were so truthful, you were scared to.
Right. I would like cross the street if there were children coming. I couldn't stand being around children or most any humans really. Humans were like an annoyance to me because I just wanted to eat all the time and I felt like people were watching me and so when I look back on it all with hindsight, what it looks like to me is, you know, if you think about the thyroid, that's where my weight gain began on the physical level, was my thyroid slowed down, my metabolism slowed down, hypothyroidism. And look where the thyroid is. It's like a butterfly shape right here over your Adam's apple if you're a guy or a woman, but you can't see it so clearly. And so where is that? That's your throat chakra, your communication chakra, right? So when I look back on it with hindsight, an aspect that I see is that I was shutting down my communication with other humans. I was shutting down emotionally. And I was, you know, literally building out this fat fortress. You know, I was like out to here with my layer of, you're not coming near me, no one's coming near me, you know, I'm just like in here in my own little bubble and I can just eat whatever I want and no one speak to me about my weight and I wouldn't speak to anyone about my health, my weight, anything. I had very superficial relationships with people and communication and, you know, it all started there with the communication chakra, right? It was like shut down. Wow. So I see definitely aspects like that when I look back on it all.
You know what? I just heard on a message board that Angela, it's impossible to look like she does now and have been that heavy. So they think that you're lying, that you've never been 300 pounds.
It's a giggle chop, isn't it, Mama?
It's kind of a compliment, isn't it? You are so hot that you were never yada yada. Okay, so moving right along. Okay, so that's cool to hear. So what started it all? Like, did you have family issues? Like, what was going on there?
When I look at it, I see that I was shutting down my communication. So it looks to me like when I was a very young child, I felt very connected to spirit, and I knew things and I couldn't explain why, like I would know if my sister was in trouble immediately. At one point, my mum, she like sprained her ankle, and I just knew it. I knew there was something wrong, and I knew there was something wrong with one of her legs, but
Wow.
everyone around me just thought I was crazy. They didn't know what I was talking about. They were just, what? So I kind of shut it all down, because there was no mirroring around me for those kind of things. So I went internal instead, and when you see people with really strong addictive personalities, like my food addiction, it's always internal stuff, right? It's like you just get totally introverted and totally, like, all your life energy is focused on whatever it is you've chosen as your crutch. So for me, it was food. And it's like you're just going around and round and around in your head when you're in that kind of rut. So that was definitely the path that I took. I just became completely focused on food. When am I going to eat? Where am I going to eat? Where's the next thing coming from? How can I eat this without somebody seeing me? Just if I wasn't eating, I was thinking about what to eat. It was just non-stop. Life was like a series of opportunities to eat. That's how it was. So yeah, it was, a shutting down of my willingness to connect with other people and just wanting to focus on that. It was like my escape route.
So you weren't listened to?
It didn't feel like there was mirroring for the experiences that I was having. And then once I stepped onto a raw food path and, my life started to change in every way, I felt willing again to connect back into that flow that had been there when I was a child. Because now, I was in my early 20s. I'd come through all of that kind of crazy teenage years being heavily overweight, very depressed. And, I came out into this raw food lifestyle, and I was just like, just so amazed to connect again to that life flow and to be willing to do that, to be willing to look people in the eye and to connect to other people's energies and to genuinely be interested in speaking with other people rather than just seeing other humans as an annoyance,
She went like full force right to the core, just like went from nowhere to just like penetrating every human being she encountered, especially me.
Yeah, so now it feels like my connection with spirit is very strong again, and I feel really blessed with that connection, and I feel like it deepens all the time. And I really encourage other people to do your best to listen to that still, very quiet voice within, which can be so hard to be willing to pay attention to especially if you're living in a fast-paced lifestyle, kind of city lifestyle, and you're used to, lots of action and drinking and It can be really hard to get yourself to slow down and listen to that little voice, but it's always there if you're willing to listen. That little voice that tells you things, and sometimes you don't do them, and then later you're like, oh, why didn't I do that? That's the one to listen to.
Okay, so I always talk about how my third eye vibrates. I meditate, I can see energy, just things like that since I've done this whole entire raw food lifestyle and cleansed my colon and stuff like that. Maybe you could explain a very profound situation, spiritual, out of the ordinary, esoteric type of experience you've had or experiences you experienced?
One that comes to mind, which I've shared before actually, this is in my book, Raw Emotions, along the lines of listening to that still, quiet voice within you. It was about the scorpion in Arizona. Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
I was living in Sedona. No, not Sedona. What's it called? near the Tree of Life
Yeah.
in Arizona, Patagonia, for a month. And I created like a little outdoor working space for myself. And one day I went out there to work in the morning, and I was just about to sit down on all these cushions that I'd made in that area. And that little voice within said, maybe there's a scorpion under the cushions. And I was like, what? And I almost ignored it, but I have learned my lesson over the years. You know, like if I don't listen to them, then I'm gonna cut myself, I'm gonna trip over, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. So I was like, okay. So I lifted up the cushion, and sure enough, right there was like this long black scorpion. And I was like, okay, I gotta listen to these guys. And so
could it have been a coincidence?
Probably because I'm lucky, right? So, yeah, that was a really clear reminder to me. And what I find so fascinating about those kind of incidences, and there's many of them, is that the voice is so quiet and it's so unemotional. You know, there's no drama with the voice. It just says like, maybe there's a scorpion under the cushion. It's not like, oh my God, watch out, there might be a scorpion. It's just like, maybe there's a scorpion. So that's also why I think it's really hard for people to be willing sometimes to listen to that voice, because in the chaotic fields that many of us live in the modern Western world, listening to that little voice, you know, you can easily get drowned out in all of that. And I think that the more you're willing to listen to it, the more you'll find synchronicities flowing through your life, and you'll feel really connected to everything around you, and you'll probably feel more joyful.
Wow. That's crazy. Do you think it's like the little voice is like a vibration in a sense, which gets your mind to think? Like it's like the ultimate vibration that's its frequency is to tell your brain there's a scorpion there.
Could be. I kind of think of it as
intuition.
Yeah, definitely intuition. I feel that there are a lot of beings who help me and who help all of us every day, and that I kind of see this thing that we're in, these 3D bodies, these space bodysuit things that we turned up in, as like the kind of final part of the picture. It's like, this is like, we came out into the 3D functional world in this form, but behind us there's this whole like etheric part of us and legions of beings who are helping us out with things. That's the way that I see it. And I think some of them usually, for me at least, have like a stronger voice, or there's certain things that they help me out with. Like there's someone who helps me in the kitchen with things, and there is definitely some people doing things with numbers. They like to give number things. And there's other people as well. Yeah, I just really appreciate them being there. It feels like it's like the higher power idea, you know. It's not all about me, like, you know, that I have to be doing everything here, and you know, that my ego is controlling everything or something. You know, I feel like there's all these other beings that I can call on, and I feel really grateful about that.
Maybe one more last question. Maybe we could talk a little bit about your bum.
Baba!
Nah. Okay. Did we do that on the TV show before when we talked about the little baby bum when you were a little baby?
Baba!
And then it went to this noise.
Not be rude, Baba.
Nah. Who we got there?
Angela Stokes Monarch.
And Matt Monarch. Thinking about the perfect bum.
Baba!
We'll see you again tomorrow. With the Raw Food World TV show.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again at the Raw Food World.